HMD here again for lesson number 6. So we've come a long way still. In the last lesson we brought in our vocals and we spoke a lot about kind of like the small little touches I was doing. We talked about kind of splitting the mixing into like 4 regions, starting with our highs, high mids, low mids and lows. And we did a few little EQ bits, a bit of a compression on it on 808. Today we're doing the pre-master mix. So we're doing the master bus mixing. Now on this part of the mixing, so for me mixing is always 2 parts. It's part 1, which is the actual channels and doing small little surgical bits, and then doing the mixing on the actual master. Now here's the reason why I've kept all of my channels at like -17, 18. I need to make sure I've got -6 dB headroom before I send off to mastering. That's just the industry standard. Because if you go any higher than that, okay, so someone like Mike Dean pushes it, but he also masters all of Travis's work, so Travis Scott's work, so he sometimes talks about going even at like -4 sometimes. They're kind of getting a bit of more out of the signal. So -6 dB is quite important if you know what you're doing. Sometimes you can push it, but that's if you know what you're doing. So I'm gonna start doing some light stuff on the master bus. I want to just talk you through each step. My first step is getting up a proper meter so I can see what the hell's going on. I'm gonna bring up my meter. So I've got my meter here. I trust this guy more than I trust what I'm seeing on the Ableton thing right there. I mean, I can pull that up and I can have a bit of an understanding of what's going on. But I prefer looking at this guy, and then I'm going to loop a quiet part and a loud part. Do it like that. Okay, so we've got that. Cool. I want to see where we're at. I'm going to look at true peak. Now, you can find any other VST, and what you're really looking for is where you can see where things are loud, where the loudness is being measured, and you're looking at where you're at, and you're thinking, all right, cool, I need to go from where I'm at to -6, okay? So I'm going to check where I'm at with this here. I'm going to do the hook and the verse and see what we're doing. Was to die tomorrow, then feel no sorrow, build a spliff and level, and live a life so on. If I was to die tomorrow, don't feel no sorrow, I'm gonna build one another, live life once more. Breathe, breath, 10 toes dry. See what's I never wasn't. Cool. So in the quieter parts it's like -17. In the verse it's like -10, which is cool, and I'm happy with that. So what I'm gonna do first and foremost is I'm gonna bring up my compressor. My settings are 2:1 ratio. We're going to mess around with the threshold and see where we're at. It's a slow attack and fast release because we're caressing the signal. We're not doing something too crazy. We're caressing the signal. We're kind of grabbing this little part, this hi-hat, this vocal, this 808. I'm kind of just bringing it together to make a nice, consistent, nothing's too loud, nothing's too quiet, nice, compressed. Not too compressed, but consistent sound. Breathe, breath, 10 toes dry. See what's I. Let's take it back from the start. Was to die tomorrow, then feel no sorrow. I'm on the wrong channel here. Back to the master. Let's go. Was to die tomorrow, then feel no sorrow. Build a spliff and level, and live a life so on. If I was to die tomorrow, don't feel no sorrow. I'm gonna build one another. I can hear things get squeezed together a little bit better. If you can't, you might have to train your ears a little bit more, and that's perfectly fine. But the compression is meant to be very subtle, okay? Next up, a bit of EQ. This is mostly subtractive EQ. As you can see, I've already taken out some little bits here. It's just to make it clear. Make things clear, take out a bit of a mud around here, and probably take out some things are a bit too bright. So A and B it, and we'll have a listen. Was to die tomorrow, don't feel no sorrow. I'm gonna build one another, live life once more. Breathe, 10 toes dry, see what's that. Super subtle. It's like the only way you would be able to hear it is if I was to turn these guys all the way up. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to move on. Next up is my additive EQ, yeah? And what I've done, I've chosen the Puig, and okay, so guys, you can do this with a normal EQ, or you can find this guy and buy him, but what I would suggest is trying with a normal EQ. Finding an EQ, you can use the same one. I could use the same EQ that I used before, but what I'm doing is I'm splitting the EQ into subtractive and additive. Subtractive is taking away, adding is adding. So what I've done here is I've added about 2 dB at 30 Hertz and 2 dB at 10 Hertz. So let's have a listen. Was to die tomorrow, don't feel no sorrow. I'm gonna build one another, live life once more. Breathe, 10 toes dry, see what's I. Never was an option, quick snack, dreams in the night. See. So you can hear the subtle changes. You can hear the low end come out a bit more. You can hear the top end kind of just become a little bit brighter. Nothing too crazy. Yeah? And now, after we've done all that, we're going to see where we're at. So, we're going to bring up where we were. Over here. And we're going to bring out this guy where we were. And then we're going to play it. Was to die tomorrow, don't feel no sorrow. I'm gonna build one another, live life once more. Breathe, 10 times. Right, sometimes you've got to click them. You've got to click these guys to get it to reset. So I'm gonna reset there, and play. Build a spliff and level, and live a life so on. If I was to die tomorrow, don't feel no sorrow. I'm gonna build one another, live life once more. Breathe, 10 toes dry, see what's I. Okay, so the highest we go now is like minus 9.7. So we probably added around about a dB or 2. We've added like maybe like 3 to 4. My count is probably off. But it means I've got 3 dBs worth of head room to play around with. So what I'm going to do, so I'm going to find this guy, and I'm going to give myself those 3. Now, if you're thinking, I don't have these VSTs, I don't have these things, all you're looking for is things that can show you what's going on, a compressor, an EQ, and something to make things louder. Those 4. Those 4 is all you need. You need a compressor, an EQ 2 things to show you what is going on, so before and after, and something to make it louder. 5. This is my loudness gear. So I've turned off my compressor. I've added around about 4.5 dB. Let's see how it sounds. Okay, without. I was to die tomorrow, then feel no sorrow. Build a spliff and level, and live a life so on. If I was to die tomorrow, don't feel no sorrow. I'm gonna build one another, and live a life once more. Breathe, breath, 10 toes dry. So you can see it's lifted everything, and I didn't do too much. I didn't do anything crazy. If I'm going to do anything crazy, I'm going to do it during production. That's why. And if you feel like things don't sound right while you're mixing, go back to your production file. That'll be another thing as well. Just make sure when you're saving your files, when you're going on to mixing, it's your mixing file and not your production file. Because what you can just do, you can hop between each one very easily. You can see on my screen, I've got a bubbly pre-master, and this is my pre-master. Now, I want to see where I come up to. I was to die tomorrow, then feel no sorrow. I'm paying attention to the peak. Yeah, I'm paying attention to the peak. I was to die tomorrow, then feel no sorrow. Build a spliff and level, and live a life so on. If I was to die tomorrow, don't feel no sorrow. I'm gonna build one another. So I've overshot by 3 dB. So what I'm gonna do is gonna turn down again, and I'm gonna go again. If I was to die tomorrow, then feel no sorrow. Build a spliff and level, and live a life so on. If I was to die tomorrow, don't feel no sorrow. I'm gonna build one another, and live a life once more. Right. So my peaks are not telling me the right thing. If I was to die tomorrow, then feel no sorrow. Build a spliff and level, and live a life so on. If I was to die tomorrow, don't feel no sorrow. I'm gonna build one another, and live a life once more. So my peak's still not at 6. I've decreased the gain a little bit more. I'm gonna try again. If I was to die tomorrow, then feel no sorrow. Build a spliff and level, and live a life so on. If I was to die tomorrow, don't feel no sorrow. I'm gonna build one another, and live a life once more. So looking at this area here, I've got the highest I probably want was -6.5, and I'm happy with that. I'm actually really happy with that, and that's ready to kind of be bounced. Now, just to recap, we started off with finding something we can look at, a visualizer to kind of let me know how loud things are at the start. We compressed it, and then we did a subtractive EQ, and then we did an additive EQ, and then we looked at where we were, and then we bounced it up. We kind of lifted it up to -6.5 or around there. Now, that's the basic of it. If you're finding yourself doing some crazy EQing and finding yourself doing some crazy like compression and stuff, take it back. Even if you want to do effects during production, not mixing and mastering, not mixing and getting ready for the pre-master. Those are my gems. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. My name is HMD. Next up is the last lesson, which is it's less music and there's a bit more, it's a bit more kind of back of office, a bit more admin, and a few YouTubes to kind of check out before Wanda's going to show you how to kind of get your artwork ready and stuff. So peace out and nothing but love.